Good morning. Morning, folks. Happy weekend. Eid Mubarak to anybody out there. I hope you're all well. Hope you're all. Let me know if I'm coming through okay, so I can continue. I think I am. I'll make sure that I'm recording this. But just give me a thumbs up, Dill. Yep, I'm coming through. See, I'm a little bit red. A little bit red today. It was very hot over the weekend. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Morning, Leon. Who's in the room? Batka, Griffey, Leon, Dill, Nick, and Silver. Hope you guys are well. So, yeah, I was out in the sun for quite a few days, but a very nice weekend. Very nice weekend. So, if you don't know, if you are in Dubai, a little weekend getaway to Antara, the World Islands, is a lovely place. It honestly feels like, yeah, I know, I'm down. You should see my back and stuff. It's horrible. Not horrible, but certainly red. But it feels like you're kind of away from Dubai because you take a boat. So you go down to the Palm. I know Nick and maybe a few of you guys may know this, but go down to the Palm. You take like a 20-minute boat to the World Islands. And I think they're on South America. And it's just a lovely place. Yeah, just a lovely place. And it's empty. It's like nobody was there. You know, you like kind of had an island to yourself. It was lovely. Anyway, so let's get back into it, shall we? The markets have fallen. Yeah, that's what it feels like. You're in Dubai, but you're not in Dubai. So I liked it. I really liked it. Okay, markets are falling. We are in a bit of risk-off nature. We are roughly have tagged around these lows here. Obviously, a decent drop-off from this corrective. Roughly around an ABC, if we call that ABC. And movement to the downside. So, we've not called a lot right, but that was kind of pretty much spot on and down to these lows now, which is where we're expecting some sort of reaction. So, at the moment, we're not massively worried. Again, bias for me is still to the downside, but we haven't broke that key area. So if we do, then this market could wobble a little bit. Obviously, we had a good day on Friday, or in terms of candle-wise, a decent close on Friday with a little bit of volume coming in. So bias for me personally would be pullback and then continuation. I don't see any reason why this market should be pushing up right now unless something fundamentally massively changes, which can happen. I can just see this potential pullback being sold into again. And that's my personal bias for the SPX. Maybe we get a little bit, maybe we get an SPX. Sorry, maybe we get a 20-period catch-up here. But ultimately, my bias is certainly to break through this area. And if we do break through this area, we could see certainly a big wobble, considering, that this area has held for quite some time. So this was a nice corrective, very basic impulse corrective continuation. And possibly a little bit in here, but ultimately my personal bias is that we move to the downside. So positioning yourself into those risk-off assets right now still certainly makes sense, possibly on a smaller term pullback. But, you look at the hourly chart as well. We're just in this corrective. Maybe this 20 catch-up here, and we continue on down with London opening up in about 25 minutes. So SPX bias, downside, risk-off, unless we see a major change. And possibly a major change for me would be a break above this anchor, here because we have broken underneath the lows, so the swing has been confirmed, but it just doesn't look like it's going to do that. Okay, dollar. The dollar today is pushing on, I believe. It's had a slight corrective. Well, maybe not. This could be possibly the creation of our B wave before a harder reset from this really nice move to the upside. It'd be interesting to see what happens now. So if we go on to smaller time frames, I've just closed that down. 1 second, guys. Here we go. So if we go into smaller time frames, so there was a 4 hour. I think my bias would be a complex corrective just because of where we've come from. We haven't had a real major corrective slightly in here from this push to the upside. So I think possibly we get a harder reset. It seems to be losing a little bit of momentum right now at potential B wave. And you could say, well, is that an ABC? It's not really very clean. From a 4-hour perspective, I would be looking at maybe this. And I think if it does do that, it would make that dollar index and that dollar quite healthy for continuation to the upside, because, as I said, at the moment, this is just not enough for me. In terms of the impulse that we've come from, I just don't think this corrective is enough. And if we are in corrective mode, which it looks to be, yes, we could get something like this. Yes, we get something like this. But I think in terms of the larger term perspective, we need a bit more of a harder reset of this. So that would be my potential bias in the dollar. Yes, it could rise. Yes, if the stock market decides to push through or pull through that barrier, that support zone, we could see the dollar continue to rise. But I think it needs to make it healthy a little bit more, and possibly we could see the dollar coming off a little bit today before continuation. So an ABC for the dollar would be my personal bias, and a pullback into the SPX before a breakthrough would be my bias in that stock market. Okay, watch list today. Obviously not a lot, as we can see. Basically not a lot. If we look at the good news first, so I'll go into New Zealand Swiss as well, but if we go into this New Zealand CAD, which has been an absolute monster of an aggressive, it's still going. Obviously the SAR is starting to catch up now, so we're probably at the end of the road. But I believe we're about 5.5, which would make this 11%, which would make it the highest earning so far, depending what happens when we close, obviously, but the highest earning aggressive that we've taken, which is great. But again, waiting for that to go. I'm just going to let it run. It's been a lovely trend to the downside, and we continue and we continue and we continue. Yeah, I mean, you know me, Nick. That side of stuff, I'm not really that fussed by. For me, in terms of the technicals, it looks, because we've had a decent move to the upside, we just need a bit of a harder reset. So, yeah, whether that plays in, that can play in. But from a technical perspective, unless we break above these highs, it becomes a little bit climactic, a bit possibly too extended for me. But if we do this, then looking at setups down here on C-Wave would be perfect for me. Considering going with that trend, etc. Fundamental bias for the dollar is long right now for me, in my perspective. And looking at buying the dollar down there, and if we get any potential setups, would be a great reason or a great area for me personally. So yeah, NZD CAD is looking good. And the other one we're in is New Zealand Swiss. So New Zealand Swiss did actually tag TP1 down here. Remember, trade management, if you are taking trades, again, I always say I'm not here to be copied, but just here to kind of learn how I do it. You can modify it, etc., etc. But from my personal, from a personal standpoint, I looked at this, and we have had a decent move or a decent kind of corrective through time here, and a 4-hour bar corrective from the smaller time frames. I thought it was okay and certainly good enough for me to take that TP1 out and just kind of let this run. Let it run. The stock market, as I said, looks weak, and that certainly adds to the bias of having positions in the Swiss, having positions in the yen, and potentially having positions in that US dollar against the risk on currencies. So from a daily perspective, we had that gap filled. Looks less likely to be a continuation from this movement, as I said, from down here. And I'm happy to let that run. So there's two ways that I can play this now. One is I move my stop to break even, which I don't want to do, because if we do have a little bit of a corrective, I don't want to be out a la GN. Remember, that's just one example, but I don't want to be out before it goes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the anchor. I'm going to consider our TP1 hit. So within my normal trade management, TP1 is hit. I just wait for that anchor or wait for that swing. And that's what I'm going to do with my full position. So NZD Swiss, another interesting thing in this is testing my my new breakout or potential breakout trade management, is that I would have been out on this, right? So we were close, and when we were pushing up, I just didn't buy it. I didn't buy this. I knew this would be sold into at some point in time. I just didn't know whether we'd be still in it when it did indeed get sold into. So from the breakout retest perspective, it was close, but it was probably 4 hours too early. But I would take that again. You know, I would take that again. So we got stopped out of that breakout retest here, and we're still in this breakout, but we would have been out of it on, or we are out of it on that potential new breakout trade management system. So this is one in favor of a little bit of larger stops. So yeah, it looks good, and I will ride that trend. Is there an option for you to enter a second? Let me bring this down. Is there an option for you to enter a second trade in Kiwi Swiss while the others are running? For example, retest the key level and support and resistance level around 6.3. Yeah, if it resets up, absolutely, I can have 4% on it. So yeah, as long as it resets up, possibly, but it just doesn't look like it for me. You know, if we hadn't breached these lows and we did have a potential little V reversal in here, then I could get involved in a breakout retest. I don't add just because it's moving in my direction. It needs to kind of reset up for me. It needs to reset up. In which case, yeah, I can have 4% on the line. 4% on the line. So yeah, kind of. And the only one, so I took the only other one I'm looking at is oil. So I took this short on the aggressive. I did say I wasn't a massive fan of it. The reason why was because I would like these candle closures to tag this key area. So we have got a tag on this wick. We have got a third structure, so 1, 2, and 3. We have got an inverted hammer, and we have got volume. So it does fit, right? It does fit. But funny enough, with like, for example, with UJ, one that I wasn't particularly happy about, it went on and did quite well. I mean, the other option is with gold. I really liked it, and it hit the stop. So I think there's something here. I certainly think there's enough of an argument there, and it's certainly something that my gut wanted to take. So I've got that in there with stops above here, and I've added it to the aggressive strategy data, which I believe is trade number 17. So I looked at it this morning on my phone. It didn't look quite as nice on my phone as it does on the computer, which is normally the case. I never really like to do my analysis on the phone at all. And the main question I wanted to ask myself was, am I taking this because I want to get to 20 to implement this strategy as quickly as possible? Or am I taking it because I like it? So I looked at this morning, and it's something that I think, or I certainly feel that it is worth the trade and I would have taken. So I wanted to make that distinction before saying, well, I just want to get to 20 because the results are great. Nzdchf is going to add me potentially a 10+% into there. But it's certainly something I do think I would take. From a trading perspective, yeah, I'm looking at oil to come back down here, potentially another reload and break to the downside, depending on what happens with this 200. So oil's in as an aggressive and looking for a potential break. You can see there the area on the 4 hours not quite as clean as on the daily, but I think there is enough there. I think there's enough there. And that's really about it, guys. You know, that's really about it. Is there anything you guys are looking at? I know I just saw a trade idea in from Canon on a EURUSD long. After breaking the low, price pushed up to strong impulse, now forming a bull flag, continuous trade. Let's have a look at EURUSD. Breakout from there. Yeah. You got your confluence on that daily. I kind of know how you trade Canon. I know you're not here, but I kind of know how you trade, where you're just buying out a break from that area. I just worry is it a little bit climactic for that euro? Is it enough? Maybe. But I guess selling the commodities do make sense. Yeah, and that's about it, guys. It is a Monday. Mondays are usually quiet. Right now, it is very quiet, as you can see by my watch list. But we are getting a few trades, which is a little bit of opposite. Sometimes we get a lot on the watch list, but not a few trades. But we are kind of getting some in. We do have the Kiwi Swiss running, which I'm happy to let running with 2% on the table. It can come up. We obviously know what can happen, but from a lower time frame perspective, it looks good. Actually, from every time frame frame perspective, it does look good. So I'll just be letting this run today. And yeah, hopefully waiting for more things to look at. More things to look at. So good trading is boring trading. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at, Nick. An oil squeeze into the area. So very, you know, in terms of Dow theory, you know, lower high, squeezing into that zone. Yeah, that's essentially what I'm looking for. But fundamentally, this can shift very quickly. But yeah, I like it. You know, I like it. Just kind of like this. Down, potentially. Yeah. I mean, theory dictates this, right? In terms of this structure. So it's something that I could see happening as well. You know, something I could see happening as well. But let's see. USD ZAR 1 hour down. USD ZAR 1 hour down. So I presume, look at higher time frames first. Well, I mean, same with the DXY, right? You're thinking from here, yeah, we need a little bit of a harder reset, a little bit of a refresh. It doesn't have to come in the form of an ABC, by the way, just a kind of refresh of that trend, because we've got impulse, possible kind of slight loss of momentum here, harder potential reset continuation, right? That's probably likely what we're thinking in terms of USD ZAR. 20 period curling over, losing a little bit of momentum here, potentially a B wave to come down. So again, we put a simple line chart on it. You can just kind of see that impulse, loss of momentum, and yeah, we could get a corrective somewhere in that 40-60 region, potentially on that daily for continuation. So that bias, I certainly think is valid. Yeah. 4 hour as well, very similar. Yeah, looking at inverted hammer, kind of signaling the start of that corrective from that move. So yeah, I would agree with looking at shorting that. I don't see where you're looking at though. You know, from here, maybe not really valid, potentially valid, but probably not. It's not very clean. So is that where you're looking at? That roughly that area? You know, potentially if you take your area from here, right, and you get something in here, then obviously, yeah, that would be fine. Breakout retest, movement to the downside. But I don't think the areas are quite clear. It seems to be that this is where the market is respecting right now. And we haven't got our first structure, our initial basing structure on account of that. 15.8535. 15.8535. So you're looking there. In which case you're looking at this, right? ABC, push on. And you're taking this as your retest. I mean, obviously for me, it's not a retest for me, but I mean, right there, you're getting some bearish momentum. If we move over to the hourly, you're taking it from here. Okay, I can see what you're looking at. So you're looking at this. Break, retest, movement down. Yeah, I mean, what's the time? 10 to 11, 10. I mean, I don't like the retest silver. You know, there's too much going on here. Too many, ideally, just too many candles for me. But if you get a reason to go short, then that would make sense. Don't think you quite got it there. You could get it on London Open, very similar to your, was it EuroCAD? I can't remember which one you said last week that did go to the downside, where we're waiting for that real entry, which 30-minute is good. Look, I agree with the bias. I just don't like the context. I agree with the bias. I don't like the context. Yeah. Hey, Ryan, I'm not there, but can take a look at GJ 30-minute buy and Euro Aussie daily buy. GJ. GJ is a bit of a mess, isn't it? I just don't. I don't like the idea of going against the yen right now. You know, I know you could make some pips out of it in terms of pullback, and yes, it could rally from this point. Absolutely, it could. In which case, it'd be a great time to buy the yen, or sorry, to sell the yen. You know, if you're getting it down here and the stock market decides to rally. But 100 times, I think, I just don't like that chart. I mean, maybe you're even potentially getting this, right, for movement back down. UK market does not look good. Pound is relatively weak, but I can see what you're looking at probably from here, right? In which case a break would be above the 200. We are above the moving averages here. There is a case for it. There is a case for it for a breakout retest there. It's not bad. I have to say it's actually not bad. I think this is a mess. You know, I can't see any clear direction on this particular chart with this massive weakness we had in the yen, big strength, and then, you know, I don't really want to call an ABC there because it's just a little bit of a mess. So context-wise, yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. You know, are you maybe saying this? 20 period is curling up, slight rejection here. I just worry that the yen takes a big move to the upside or a big strengthening up over the course of possibly today or tomorrow, depending on what happens with that market. So yes and no. Yes and no. Context is there. High time frame confluence is not great. Not great. Euro Aussie buy. Euro Aussie buy. Aussie's come off. I mean that's in a better position. That's in a better position. I presume you're looking here. In which case, yeah, there's an argument for it, right? Decent bar yesterday, or sorry, on Friday. Looking at this, pullback back to that 20. You'd probably expect this to move to the downside. You could be looking at a pretty ugly head and shoulders there. And actually, the more uglier they are, the better they normally work. Yeah, I think there's an argument there. Let's have a look at the weekly. It is counter trend, but you do have confluence with risk sentiment. You do have confluence with that weekly bar there. But it is counter trend, and it is buying the euro. Yeah, I don't mind it. I like it. I don't mind it, Omar. I don't mind it. It's not something that I would take, not right now, but I don't mind it. Don't mind it. UJ 30 minute, UJ 30, and UJ is another one that is just, again, massively extended. You know, I can't buy something up there. Can't do it. You know, look at that. Up there. I mean, we were in it on the aggressive all the way back down here. We didn't get, I mean, this is the pros and cons of the SAR, right? And the pros and cons of every kind of thing. In terms of swings, we'd still be in this. But the SAR, we were out here, still for a very good gain, roughly down here. And that's really where you want to be in. So going long on UJ now, with where the dollar is, with where the index is, I'm not sure if I like that. I'm not sure if I like that bias. From a technical perspective on the 30-minute, yeah, if you get a decent break, I can see why, right? From a technical perspective on smaller time frames, yeah, looks pretty good. I just don't like where it is. 4 hour, I mean, healthy trend on the 4 hour. Just don't like where it is there and there. You know, I just don't. So, yeah, context-wise, breakout retest is okay. I just don't know how much you get out of it. I don't know how much you get out of that. So yeah, that's what I would say on it as well. That's what I would say on that as well. Just a bit too extended. Okay, but not for me. Not for me, Omar, personally. But then USD Swiss, I didn't get in on, and you did, and you obviously got a very good move out of it. I know you said you're out of it, but that was a frustrating one, not getting aggressive in there. But I'm happy today. I'm absolutely happy being in Kiwi Swiss. It makes sense to me. I like where it is. It can move. We're just crossing these moving averages now. And, break below here, and it really could move, certainly if the stock market decides to come off. Look here underneath the 20 on the weekly. Are we coming back down? Potentially within, it's not very good drawing, but essentially within, oh, fuck's sake, within this or something, down to here. Yeah, potentially. Absolutely. So I'm perfectly happy having that in and letting that ride. I don't feel comfortable with anything else. EU to 1035, AU to, buying them against that. EU, let's have a look at EU. Well, actually, kind of going exactly with the DXY. What did you say there, Nick? Hold on. Just get this straight. EU to 1035. So you're looking short right now. This is my bias. Seeing what the euro's doing right now, again, depending on London Open, that would be my bias. And that's what I would like, in which case taking a short somewhere around here would make much more sense, personally. Ultimately, yes. I agree with Euro USD to the downside, absolutely. EU to 1035. 1035 is down here. So yeah, short. Oh, that it will reach. Yeah, my bias is EU down. I don't see any reason why to buy to buy EU right now. I just think it goes for a harder reset and then back down. So yeah. Yep, I agree with that. AU as well, short. I agree with that as well right now. But again, maybe not right now. So you're thinking AU probably down to 0.7, so down to there. Yeah. This one's probably not as nice as EU from a technical perspective. Bit more extended, but yeah, they're kind of like magnets, right? So yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I can comprehend EU a lot better than AU right now with how I see markets. So I can see this coming back up, taking some retail out here before going short. AU could potentially do the same thing. If we do see a few days of weakness in the dollar, in terms of pullback weakness, then you could get a wee bit of a messy chart here, which I wouldn't be surprised with AU. Here we go, and then continuation down because of that daily extension. But ultimately, with your where you're looking it to go to, then yeah. Looking at EuroCAD down. EuroCAD. From a pullback from somewhere down here. There's some strength to this. There is some strength to this. Where are you looking, Griffey? Which area? Yeah. Push up to pull down. Yeah. I could certainly see that happening with both of them. EU, AU. 1.3666. 1.3666. Liquidity. Is there some resting liquidity or something up in here? 1.3666. So from here, something like that. Yeah, even though the daily has some confluence long, right? You're roughly somewhere here. Yeah? We've seen that happen. How many times have we seen that deeper pullback in the euro that is sold into time and time again? So yeah, doing that again, absolutely, yeah, it makes sense to me. The euro just loves to do this. It loves to have these areas that just get massively sold into. So if this is the area you're looking at, with something in here, then yeah, I agree with that. Selling into any euro strength against the CAD. The CAD has been pretty strong. It's coming off right now, but that means diddly squat to me. So yeah, I agree with that, Griffey. Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. Just because of what's happened, because we know the characteristics of the euro. So yeah, looking at it get up here, I think this will be sold into. And if you're saying this area is a good area to do it, then yeah. Which coincides with what? Take that fib, probably a bit more of a deeper pullback around 70 something, which I guess you like. Yep, I like that. I like that. Wow, it melts my heart. What does? When I use fibs, yeah. I know. I don't often use them. The reason why I don't often use them, I actually do. I think I do use them quite a bit. It's because I kind of know roughly with the regions where I kind of like it to go back into. But yeah, anyway. The fib man. I was actually asked to do a fib video, which I will do, like a YouTube video, but it's not something I massively use. I see New Zealand Swiss is coming off a little bit. There was something else I need to talk about before I go. Oh yes, this Friday the 6th is NFP day. I still have got nobody entering in for the 50K. So if you do want to be entered in, get your entries in by, let's say, Wednesday. Make them as detailed as possible, whether it be email to rtop@rt-forex.com or just a message on Discord. And obviously we'll be giving $200 away this month as well, which will be nice. That is not an entry. That is just whoever, well, just me now, who I feel has been a good member of the community. So, yeah, if you want into that, I'll be announcing it on NFP day. Bribes are always welcome. And if you want to be into the 50K, remember, even if you feel like you've improved, and maybe you're saying, Ryan, I'm 1 or 2 months away from it, you can still enter and just, not use it. But I'd rather give it to somebody who's really ready right now. Absolutely, Nick. Absolutely. They improve with a beer, bottle of gin, anything. It definitely improves your chances. I'm easily bought. I'm certainly easily bought. All right, guys. Have a great day. I'm going to play my last game of golf in Dubai for a few months today, obviously because it's quite quiet and it's getting a wee bit hot. So that's what I'm doing this afternoon. I'll be holding my positions. I'll be looking at oil, and I'll be very happy because I feel like I'm in a good position. So remember, it is a Monday. Mondays are sometimes quiet. We do have still a little bit of uncertain markets. We do have a little bit of extensions that we still possibly need to be patient for. And yeah, it's coming. This too shall pass, right? It's coming to the end. We've had a few weeks, or personally from my stance, I think we've had a few weeks of pretty poor markets, and can't go on forever. Can't go on forever. All right, guys, have a great day. Have a lovely Monday. Trade safe, and I'll see you all in the morning. Peace.